So today we're going to be talking about my favorite lens set. Now I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but I've supported Sirui pretty much ever since they got the 50mm f1.8 for the APS-C range when it was their first anamorphic lens, and I've loved them ever since. And obviously I've done a full review on all of these full frame lenses, the 35, 50, 75, 100. The 135 is a little bit different because it's a 1.8 times squeeze, but the newest one is 150. Now that is an incredible lens that pretty much completes the whole 1.6 times anamorphic squeeze lenses off, unless they get a really sort of wide, maybe 24 or 27mm full frame one. Not sure, but that's all the room that fits in this box. But obviously, this is the one we're going to be talking about today, the 150mm T2.9 1.6 times squeeze. Now, this is the longest focal length in the set, and it is really impressive, mainly for the fact of that close focusing distance. Now, we're going to be talking about all the specs today. We're going to be showing the image quality and what you're going to be getting out of this camera. And like I said, that close focusing distance is incredible. I love it. You can actually get some really nice close shots without using close-up filters or diopters. So that is really impressive. And the bokeh that you get on this thing, wow, I love it. So now at the time of recording this video, they are doing a special. So if you use the link in the description below, you will get a cheaper price, which is great. But there's also a discount on the current anamorphic lenses that are out. So that is amazing. So check that one out. So the 150mm is Sirui's newest full-frame anamorphic lens in the 1.6 range. It has a minimum focus of 0.58 meters, a front filter thread of 82mm, and weighs in at about 1,390 grams. You can currently get this on their website for $1,199 US. Okay, the close focusing distance, 0.58 meters. That is incredibly close, especially for an anamorphic lens, but also for a 150mm lens. So the others are around about sort of 0.8, sort of 0.9 meters, which is very standard for anamorphics. It's not sort of out of the ordinary. But this one is just 0.58. It's so close. You can get super nice tight shots without using diopters, which is extremely beneficial when you are on the fly and you're trying to get all these nice close shots. But it's just phenomenal. I absolutely love how they've made it like that. Here is the 150mm at 0.58 meters. This is the 100mm at 0.93 meters. This is the 75mm at 0.85 meters. This is the 50mm at 0.8 meters. And this is the 35mm at 0.85 meters. And I think the great thing about Sony cameras is that you have either clear image zoom, or you can actually punch into Super 35 mode, which will give you extra reach and obviously really close to the action. Now these are diopters or close-up filters. Essentially, you put these on the front of any lens and you can get really close to the action. Essentially, these are just magnifying glasses on the front of your lens. And generally with anamorphic lenses, if you want to get closer, these are the filters that you're going to need to use. Now we have to talk about the body design first, and this is pretty much the same as all the other ones in the full frame range. So your aperture ring and your focus ring is in the exact same spot. So if you do have focus motors, all you need to do is literally take the lens off, slip it straight in, and then recalibrate your focus motor, and that is amazing. And it saves so much time when you're actually changing lenses, especially if you only have one or two shots with a long lens, then you need to go to a medium lens or a wide lens. So these are the things that you do look out for when it comes to cinema lenses. And obviously that lens support is very useful because these are pretty hefty lenses, and I absolutely recommend using a lens support when using any of these kind of heavy lenses. So how's the flaring look in comparison to the rest of these lenses? Now, when it comes to flaring, I am pretty impressed because they are very similar when it comes to the 150 to 100, 75, 50, and 35mm. They all have slight different characteristics on how they actually flare, but I really love the flaring of the Sirui lenses. So one of the most interesting things that I did with this lens is I went up to Condo to a Sony camp, and I took this there, and there was, I think it was Cirque du Soleil on the beach with sunrise. It was incredible to see, and I filmed everything with this, and it was just absolutely phenomenal. I love the image quality that you get out of this, but the only con with that is that, yeah, it was a little too close. I probably should have brought at least the 50 or maybe 35 so I could get wider shots. So that's why you obviously don't just get the 150 by itself. You do need like a 75 or a 50 to try and get a normal sort of, you know, focal length, portrait focal length, and then maybe the 35 for a really nice wide perspective. So what is the image quality that you get out of this lens? Now, the Sirui Anamorphic lenses are very sharp lenses, and the 150 is really sharp wide open. At T2.9, you can see in the center and out in the corners, it is pretty much sharp, but if you do stop it down to T4, T5.6, and even at the minimum aperture of T16, it has incredible sharpness performance. But you can see that there is a little bit of distortion there with pin cushion distortion, very similar to the 35mm. And these just add to the characteristics of anamorphic lenses. But what most people do is put a mist filter on the front here because they are very sharp. Now, there are two things that I absolutely love about the Sirui lenses, and one of them is the price. Now, when you actually trying to, you know, compare this to full frame anamorphic lenses that are, you know, out in the field already, they are stupidly expensive, and we all know that. These are extremely budget, and just the quality is incredible, and that is number two, and that is the quality. They are almost sharp, wide open at T2.9, so you can actually film at T2.9. A lot of those, you know, anamorphic lenses like Cooke Anamorphics and stuff, Atlas Orions, they are actually quite soft, wide open, so you actually have to dial it down to like a T4 or T5.6, which is not bad, but you are suffering in that low light department. And you know, it does hurt when you are trying to film at T4 or T5.6 because you do need to add in a lot more light, and then you're kind of like losing the anamorphic qualities out of the bokeh because, you know, you're stopping the lens down and you're not getting as much bokeh depth of field. But still, these are just incredible. So as you may know, anamorphics do give off oval shaped bokeh. That is one of the qualities compared to spherical, where the bokeh is pretty much spherical. And you can see the differences here side by side with anamorphic versus spherical. So I don't want to waste too much more of your time, but if you do want to see the other reviews of the other full frame lenses in the Sirui range, obviously I've got a ton here, and I will put in the link in the description below so you can check them out. Obviously the link will be in the description below if you do want to check this lens out. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.